Imagine a place deep inside the Amazon rainforest, where people don't fear aging. Where wrinkles don't mean weakness, and growing old doesn't mean slowing down. While the modern world spends billions every year on anti-aging creams, expensive surgeries, gym memberships, and miracle supplements, there exists a community that has achieved what science is still struggling to explain. Here, men and women stay strong, healthy, and active well into their 70s, 80s, and even beyond. This is not a fairy tale, not a legend whispered around campfires. This is the real-life story of the Tsimane people, an indigenous tribe hidden in the Bolivian Amazon. Their way of life has remained close to nature for centuries, and the results are astonishing. When researchers first visited them, they couldn't believe what they saw. Elderly men carried heavy loads through the forest. Women in their 60s and 70s farmed, cooked, and cared for children with energy levels most of us would envy. And when doctors began conducting medical tests, the results shocked the scientific world. The Tsimane people had the healthiest hearts ever recorded in human history. Imagine that for a second. While heart disease is the #1 killer in most modern societies, for the Tsimane, it is almost non-existent. Their arteries, even at advanced ages, looked as clean and flexible as those of much younger individuals. Some elderly tribe members had arteries healthier than city dwellers in their 40s or 50s. But that's not all. Scientists discovered that their brains also seemed to resist the normal signs of aging. Brain shrinkage, a process linked to memory loss and dementia, was far slower among the Tsimane. That means their minds stayed sharper, their memory stronger, and their daily lives more independent for longer than people in the industrialized world. So how is this possible? What makes the Tsimane so different from us? Is it some hidden plant or secret ritual? A miracle herb from the jungle? The answer, it turns out, is both simple and powerful. The Tsimane live a life deeply connected to nature. Every day, they walk for miles through the forest, hunt animals, fish in winding rivers, and gather wild fruits and nuts. Their diet is natural, unprocessed, and filled with fresh food straight from the earth, no fast food, no sugary sodas, no packaged snacks. Their physical activity is constant and unplanned. Unlike us, they don't need a gym membership or a fitness tracker. Survival itself is their exercise routine. But it's not only about food and movement. Their community plays a major role. Family, the result? A tribe that seems to have cracked the code of healthy aging. While the modern world chases shortcuts, the Tsimane quietly live longer, stronger, and happier lives, teaching us that maybe the secret to youth isn't found in a laboratory, but in the simple rhythms of nature. And as we step deeper into their world, one question remains: can we bring some of their wisdom into our modern lives? The Tsimane tribe lives far away from the chaos of modern cities. Their world is not filled with concrete, cars, or glowing screens. It is surrounded by towering trees, winding rivers, and the endless sounds of the Amazon rainforest. Their homes are simple huts, built from wood, palm leaves, and natural materials gathered from the jungle. To us, these homes might look basic. But for the Tsimane, they provide everything they need: shelter, comfort, and a connection to the land they call home. What makes their life extraordinary is not what they lack, but what they have in abundance. Every day, the Tsimane live in close rhythm with nature. The men rise early to hunt wild animals or fish in the rivers. They use bows, arrows, and spears, tools passed down for generations. A successful hunt means fresh meat, shared by the whole community. At the same time, women gather fruits, nuts, and medicinal plants from the forest, carrying heavy baskets through long trails. They also tend to small farms where they grow staples like plantains, rice, maize, and cassava. This daily routine might sound exhausting to us, but for the Tsimane it is normal life. And it is this very lifestyle that keeps their bodies strong. Unlike people in cities, who often spend most of the day sitting, whether in offices, cars, or in front of televisions, the Tsimane are always on the move. For them, physical activity is not a choice, a workout, or a scheduled gym session. It is simply the way they survive. Walking miles through dense jungle to fetch water, climbing trees to collect fruit, paddling canoes along rivers, all these movements shape their bodies to be lean, flexible, and resilient. Scientists who studied the Tsimane noticed something remarkable. Even older tribe members in their 60s or 70s were still physically active every single day. In contrast, many of us in the modern world slow down by middle age, often because our lifestyles encourage inactivity. For the Tsimane, motion never stops, and this is one of the biggest reasons why their bodies age more gracefully. But movement is only half of the story. Their health is also shaped by what they eat. The Tsimane diet is fresh, natural, and almost completely free from processed food. There are no brightly packaged snacks, sugary sodas, or greasy fast foods. Their meals come directly from the forest and rivers. Fresh fish is a staple, providing protein and healthy fats. Lean wild game supplies strength without the unhealthy cholesterol found in processed meats. Fruits like bananas and papayas add vitamins and energy, while cassava and maize supply carbohydrates that fuel their active lives. Nuts, rich in natural oils, give them an extra boost of nutrition. What's fascinating is that they don't count calories, track carbs, or follow strict diets. Their eating habits are guided by availability, tradition, and survival. And yet, this way of eating keeps them slim, energetic, and free from the diseases that plague much of the modern world, such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. In short, the Tsimane way of life shows us something powerful. Good health does not come from expensive supplements or complicated routines. It comes from living in motion, eating what nature provides, and staying connected to the land. Their harmony with nature is not just cultural, it is biological, shaping their bodies and protecting them as they age. When scientists studied the Tsimane tribe, they found something that completely challenged what we think we know about aging. Normally, as people grow older, their bodies show clear signs of decline. The arteries harden, the brain shrinks, and the risk of heart disease, stroke, and memory loss increases. But for the Tsimane, things looked very different. At the age of 80, many Tsimane people had the same artery health as an average American in their mid-50s. To put it simply, their blood vessels remained flexible and clear of dangerous blockages that so often lead to heart attacks. In fact, their risk of heart disease was up to 5 times lower than people in the United States or Europe. Doctors called their heart health unprecedented, because no other population on Earth had shown such strong protection against cardiovascular disease. But it didn't stop at the heart. Scientists were equally surprised by what they discovered about the Tsimane brain. Normally, as humans age, the brain begins to shrink in size, a process that is strongly linked to memory problems, dementia, and diseases like Alzheimer's. For people in industrialized nations, this shrinkage accelerates with age, and it has devastating effects on quality of life. But among the Tsimane, the process was much slower. Their brains maintained volume longer, meaning they stayed sharper, more alert, and more independent as they aged. So the big question is, why? What makes the Tsimane so different from the rest of the world? The answer, scientists believe, lies in their lifestyle balance. Unlike many of us, the Tsimane are not stuck sitting behind desks, driving cars, or staring at screens for most of the day. Their bodies are constantly in motion. They walk, hunt, gather, farm, and carry heavy loads, not occasionally, but every single day. This continuous physical activity keeps their circulation strong, their muscles active, and their hearts working efficiently. Then there's their diet. The Tsimane eat what nature provides: fresh fish, lean meat, plantains, cassava, maize, bananas, and nuts. They consume little sugar, almost no processed foods, and very low amounts of unhealthy fats. Their meals are rich in natural nutrients, giving their bodies what they need without the extra chemicals, preservatives, and excess calories found in modern junk food. But health is not only about the body, it's also about the mind. And here, too, the Tsimane lifestyle offers an important clue. They live in close-knit communities where family bonds are strong and no one is left behind. Grandparents, parents, and children live together, work together, and support each other. Loneliness, which scientists now recognize as a major risk factor for poor health and early death in modern societies, is almost non-existent in their world. stress also plays a role. While the Tsimane face challenges like illness, weather, or finding food, they do not live with the constant pressure of bills, deadlines, or social isolation. Their stress is natural and short-term, not chronic and overwhelming like it often is in modern life. Put all of this together, constant movement, a natural diet, strong social bonds, and a life connected to nature, and you begin to see why the Tsimane age so differently. Scientists believe this unique combination creates a kind of shield against the diseases that make aging so difficult for the rest of us. For the Tsimane, aging does not mean decline. It means living longer with strength, sharpness, and dignity, a lesson that could change how the modern world thinks about growing old. Of course, not everything about Tsimane life is perfect. They face challenges that most of us would struggle with: limited access to modern medicine, higher exposure to infections, and the daily difficulties of survival in the rainforest. But when it comes to the so-called diseases of civilization, heart attacks, strokes, obesity, and diabetes, the Tsimane are far ahead of us. In fact, they have shown scientists that it is possible to grow old without these chronic health problems dominating life. So what can we, living in busy cities and fast-paced societies, actually learn from them? The first and most obvious lesson is movement. The Tsimane don't have treadmills, gyms, or fitness apps. Yet their entire lives revolve around motion. They walk miles to fish, to gather food, to visit neighboring families. They farm, they climb, they paddle canoes. Their activity isn't a chore, it's simply part of living. For us, movement has become optional, and that is where the problem lies. Many of us sit for 8 to 10 hours a day at desks, then drive home, and spend our evenings on couches. This lifestyle silently damages our health, weakening our muscles and stiffening our arteries. But the good news is that we don't have to live in the Amazon to change this. Walking more, taking the stairs, gardening, biking, or even doing light exercise at home can make a huge difference. If we make movement a normal part of our day, instead of a rare activity, we take the first step toward Tsimane-like health. The second lesson is food. The Tsimane don't weigh their meals, count calories, or follow strict diets. They simply eat real food, fresh and unprocessed. Their meals are simple: fish from the rivers, game meat from the forest, vegetables, fruits, and grains like maize and rice. What they don't eat is just as important. No processed sugar, no fast food, no packaged snacks loaded with chemicals. This alone protects them from obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. For us, the takeaway is clear: if we want to age better, we must return to food that actually nourishes us. It doesn't mean giving up everything modern, it means choosing more fruits, vegetables, and natural proteins while cutting down on junk that our bodies were never designed to handle. The third, and perhaps most overlooked lesson, is community. In modern societies, loneliness has become a silent epidemic. Studies show that being socially isolated can harm health as much as smoking or obesity. Many elderly people live alone, far from family, and suffer from depression or anxiety as a result. The Tsimane thrive because they live in close-knit groups. Children, parents, and grandparents share homes, meals, and responsibilities. Everyone has a role, and no one is left behind. This constant human connection reduces stress, strengthens mental health, and gives their elders a sense of purpose even in old age. So what can we do? We may not all live in multi-generational households, but we can invest in stronger relationships, spending more time with family, building friendships, joining community groups, or simply being present with others. Just like exercise and diet, social bonds are part of the foundation of good health. In the end, the Tsimane are not teaching us about magical secrets. They are reminding us of simple truths: move more, eat real food, and stay connected to one another. If we could bring even a fraction of these lessons into our modern lives, we might age with more strength, vitality, and joy, just like them. The Tsimane Amazon tribe teaches us something powerful: aging doesn't have to mean weakness, sickness, and decline. For them, growing older is not about losing strength, but about gaining wisdom. It's not about being fragile, but about remaining active, useful, and connected. Their story shows us that aging can mean vitality, resilience, and dignity, if we live in balance with nature and with each other. In the modern world, we are taught to fear aging. Advertisements bombard us with miracle creams, anti-wrinkle treatments, and promises of eternal youth. We spend fortunes trying to look younger, while diseases like heart failure, diabetes, and dementia quietly steal away our health. But the Tsimane remind us that health is not something that comes from a pill, a product, or a surgery. Real health comes from the way we live. It's in how we move, what we eat, how we treat one another, and how we stay connected to the world around us. Think about it. The Tsimane don't wake up worrying about gym memberships, step counters, or health fads. They don't measure macros or follow strict diets. Their health is not the result of complicated plans, it is the natural outcome of living in alignment with their environment. Movement is constant, food is real, and relationships are strong. And because of this, their bodies and minds stay younger, for longer. So next time you think about aging, remember the Tsimane. Deep in the Bolivian Amazon, far from modern hospitals, gyms, and supplements, this tribe has achieved something the modern world is still desperately searching for: the secret to aging better. Not just in numbers of years, but in quality of life. Imagine a world where our elders are not hidden away in care homes, but remain vibrant parts of our communities. Imagine reaching your 70s or 80s and still being able to walk for miles, work with your hands, and carry heavy loads. Imagine having a sharp memory, a strong heart, and a joyful spirit even in old age. That is what the Tsimane show us is possible. Their gift to the world is not a hidden plant, a rare herb, or a secret medicine. Their gift is a living example, a reminder that the human body is designed to thrive when given the right conditions. It doesn't take perfection. It doesn't take wealth. It takes balance. Balance between activity and rest, between food and fuel, between independence and community. And maybe, just maybe, if we start living even a little more like them, walking instead of sitting, eating fresh instead of processed, choosing connection instead of isolation, we could rewrite our own story of aging. It doesn't have to be a slow decline into sickness. It could be a journey filled with strength, meaning, and life. The Tsimane people may live far from our modern world, but their lesson is one